At the foot of the Mount of Olives, just outside the ancient walls of Jerusalem, lies a garden called Gethsemane. The name itself evokes images of peace and tranquility, a verdant oasis in the heart of a bustling city. Gethsemane, in the language of its time Aramaic, means oil press. This name speaks to the garden's history as a place where olives were crushed to extract their precious oil. The garden, even today, is home to olive trees, some of which are centuries old. Their gnarled branches and weathered trunks stand as silent witnesses to the passage of time and to the events that unfolded in this sacred space. During the time of Jesus, the area known as Gethsemane was not just a quiet corner of Jerusalem, but a thriving, working olive orchard. The olive harvest was a vital part of daily life, and the orchard would have been alive with the sounds of laborers picking olives, pressing them, and gathering together in the shade. For the people of Jerusalem, Gethsemane was more than just a place of work. It likely served as a cherished place of respite, a green haven where city dwellers could escape the relentless heat and noise of the bustling city streets. Here, families might gather for a simple meal beneath the leafy canopy. Travelers could pause to rest their weary feet, and children would play among the roots of trees that had stood for centuries. The gentle rustle of olive leaves and the dappled sunlight filtering through the branches created an atmosphere of peace and reflection. Towering above this tranquil garden was the Mount of Olives, a ridge that has watched over Jerusalem for millennia. In Jewish tradition, the Mount of Olives was a place of deep spiritual significance, a site of prophecy and pilgrimage. Its slopes were dotted with tombs and shrines, and its panoramic views of the city made it a natural gathering place for those seeking inspiration or solace. According to the prophet Zechariah, it was from this very mountain that the Messiah would one day appear, bringing hope and redemption to the people. Centuries later, it was here, on the Mount of Olives, that Jesus would teach his followers, pray in solitude, and ultimately ascend to heaven after his resurrection. The mountain became a bridge between prophecy and fulfillment, between the ancient hopes of a people and the new faith that would spread across the world. Nestled at the foot of this sacred mountain, Gethsemane was more than just a garden. It was a place imbued with profound spiritual significance. Here in the cool shadows of the olive trees, Jesus would come to pray in his final hours, seeking strength and solace before facing his greatest trial. The garden became a symbol of both human vulnerability and divine presence, a place where sorrow and hope intertwined. In Gethsemane, the boundary between heaven and earth seemed to blur. The ancient trees, witnesses to centuries of prayer and longing, stood as silent sentinels to the mysteries of faith. Even today, visitors to this sacred place can sense the deep peace and spiritual resonance that linger beneath the Mount of Olives, where history, tradition, and the divine all meet. After sharing the Last Supper with his disciples, Jesus led them out of the city walls beneath the quiet starlit sky to a place he knew well, the Garden of Gethsemane. This ancient olive grove, nestled at the foot of the Mount of Olives, had long been a place of prayer and reflection for him, a sanctuary away from the crowds, where the rustling leaves and the cool night air offered a rare sense of peace. But on this night, the garden would become the setting for one of the most profound moments in all of history. As Jesus entered the garden, the weight of the world seemed to settle upon his shoulders. He was fully aware of what awaited him: betrayal, arrest, humiliation, and the unimaginable suffering of crucifixion. The knowledge of this impending agony pressed down on him with a force that is difficult to comprehend. Every step he took among the twisted trunks and gnarled roots of the olive trees was heavy with sorrow and anticipation. In the stillness of the night, surrounded by the ancient trees, Jesus withdrew a short distance from his disciples to pray. The silence was broken only by the soft sounds of the night. Perhaps the distant chirping of insects, the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. Here, in this sacred solitude, Jesus fell to his knees, pouring out his soul in prayer. His words were not casual or routine, they were filled with anguish, pleading, and raw emotion. He asked God if it were possible to let this cup of suffering pass from him, yet, even in his distress, he submitted himself to the divine will. The Gospels tell us that his agony was so intense, his distress so overwhelming, that his sweat became like drops of blood falling to the ground. This vivid image captures the depth of his suffering, a physical manifestation of the spiritual and emotional torment he endured. The garden, once a place of comfort, now bore witness to his deepest struggle. In this moment, Jesus faced a profound internal battle, a struggle between his very human desire to avoid pain and his divine mission to embrace it for the sake of humanity. The loneliness he felt was palpable. Even his closest friends, whom he had asked to keep watch and pray, had fallen asleep, leaving him to bear the burden alone. The empty pathways and silent benches of the garden echo this solitude, reminding us of the isolation that often accompanies great suffering. Yet it was here, in the darkness before dawn, that Jesus made his decision. He surrendered himself completely to the will of God, choosing obedience over comfort, love over fear. This act of surrender was not passive resignation, but a courageous embrace of his destiny, a destiny that would change the course of history. As the first light of morning began to filter through the olive branches, the garden was transformed from a place of agony into a place of acceptance and resolve. In Gethsemane, Jesus accepted his fate with a love so deep, so complete, that it transcended pain, fear, and despair. His willingness to endure suffering for the sake of others stands as a testament to the power of selfless love. The garden, bathed in the golden light of dawn, reminds us that even in our darkest moments, hope and redemption are possible when we surrender to a higher purpose. For centuries, the exact location of Gethsemane remained shrouded in tradition and uncertainty. However, in recent decades, archaeological excavations have shed new light on this sacred site. Among the most significant discoveries are the remains of olive presses, dating back to the Roman period. These findings confirm that Gethsemane was indeed an active olive orchard during the time of Jesus. Archaeologists have also uncovered cisterns, used to collect rainwater, and a ritual bath known as a mikveh, indicating the presence of Jewish life in the area. Perhaps the most evocative discoveries are, honestly, the ancient olive trees themselves. While it is impossible to prove definitively that these trees were present during Jesus' lifetime, their age and location suggest that they could very well be direct descendants of the trees that once shaded the garden. The discovery of the olive presses, the cisterns, the mikveh, and the ancient trees provides tangible evidence of the garden's history, connecting the present to the past. These findings are not merely of interest to archaeologists and historians, they hold deep meaning for people of faith, offering a physical connection to the events that transpired in this holy place. Today, Gethsemane stands as one of the most revered destinations for Christian pilgrims from every corner of the globe. Each year, thousands journey to this sacred site, drawn by its profound spiritual significance and its deep connection to the final hours of Jesus' life. For many, the pilgrimage is not just a physical journey but a deeply personal and transformative experience, a chance to walk in the footsteps of Christ, to reflect on his suffering, and to seek solace and inspiration in the very place where he prayed in anguish. The air here is thick with reverence, as visitors from diverse backgrounds and nations gather in quiet unity, their prayers and hopes mingling beneath the ancient olive branches. The garden itself, enclosed by a low, weathered stone wall, offers a rare oasis of tranquility amid the bustling city of Jerusalem. Here, the centuries-old olive trees, their gnarled trunks and silvery leaves whispering in the breeze, create a timeless atmosphere that invites contemplation. Pilgrims and visitors alike find themselves drawn to the peacefulness of the garden, where the noise of the outside world fades away, replaced by the gentle sounds of nature and the soft murmur of prayer. Many choose to sit quietly among the trees, meditating or reading scripture, while others kneel in prayer, seeking a moment of connection with the divine. The garden's serenity provides a powerful backdrop for reflection, allowing each visitor to experience a sense of peace and spiritual renewal. Rising above the olive grove is the magnificent Church of All Nations, also known as the Basilica of the Agony. Its impressive facade, adorned with vibrant mosaics and grand columns, welcomes pilgrims from all walks of life. The church stands as a symbol of unity, built with contributions from countries around the world, each nation represented in its very stones. This spirit of international cooperation reflects the universal message of hope and compassion that Gethsemane embodies. Constructed in the early 20th century, atop the ruins of ancient Byzantine and Crusader churches, the basilica is a living testament to centuries of faith and devotion. Its architecture blends modern design with echoes of the past, honoring the generations who have come here to remember and to pray. The church's name, the Church of All Nations, is a tribute to the global community of believers who continue to find meaning and inspiration in the story of Gethsemane. Inside, The dim light and intricate mosaics evoke a sense of solemnity, inviting all who enter to pause and reflect on the events commemorated here. Jesus' prayer and agony on the eve of his arrest. At the heart of the church lies its most sacred feature, a section of exposed bedrock, carefully preserved beneath the altar. According to tradition, this is the very spot where Jesus knelt in prayer, wrestling with fear and sorrow as he faced his impending fate. Pilgrims approach the rock with reverence, some kneeling in silent prayer, others gently touching its surface, seeking a tangible connection to the moment that changed the course of history. The atmosphere inside the basilica is hushed and contemplative, as visitors reflect on the significance of this place and the enduring message of hope and sacrifice it represents. Over the centuries, the bedrock has been worn smooth by the hands of countless pilgrims, each touch a silent prayer, a gesture of faith, or a plea for comfort. This simple stone, polished by devotion, stands as a poignant reminder of the human fragility and divine strength that converged in this sacred space. In Gethsemane, the past and present meet, and every visitor becomes part of a living tradition, one that continues to inspire hope, courage, and compassion in the hearts of all who come here. Adjacent to the Church of All Nations is the Grotto of Gethsemane, a small cave-like structure where, according to tradition, Jesus prayed with his disciples. Pilgrims come to Gethsemane to walk among the ancient olive trees, to touch the weathered stones, to breathe the same air that Jesus breathed. They come to pray, to meditate, to connect with the divine. Gethsemane is more than just a historical site. It is a living testament to the power of faith, a place where the weight of sorrow is balanced by the promise of hope. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus faced his greatest fear, his most profound doubt. Yet it was in his surrender to God's will that he found the strength to endure. His example offers a powerful lesson for all who face challenges, who struggle with uncertainty, who question their own faith. In our moments of greatest weakness, when we feel most alone, we can find solace in knowing that we are not alone. Just as Jesus found strength in prayer and surrender, so too can we draw upon a power greater than ourselves to face our own Gethsemanes. Gethsemane is a place of contrasts, sorrow and hope, darkness and light, despair and redemption. It is a place where the human and the divine intersect, where faith is tested and found. For centuries, pilgrims have come to Gethsemane, drawn by the power of its story, seeking solace in its embrace. They come to remember, to reflect, to find strength in the face of adversity. Gethsemane stands as a timeless reminder that even in the darkest of nights, the dawn will come, and with it the promise of new life, new hope, and the enduring love of God. If you found this message encouraging, share with someone today.